What is the spiritual dream meaning of a woman? Let's be clear. Harriet Tubman shouldn't have survived. She shouldn't have escaped slavery, and she absolutely should not have gone back into the heart of it to rescue others. But she did. When she was just 6 years old, an overseer threw a 2-pound metal weight. It wasn't even meant for her. It missed its target and hit her in the head. This traumatic brain injury gave her narcolepsy. For the rest of her life, she'd just fall asleep. No warning, mid-sentence, mid-step, even when her life was on the line. And every single time she fell into that sleep, she dreamed. But look, to her, these weren't just dreams. No, she was absolutely certain they were visions, direct messages from God. So what did she see? She talked about flying over fields like a bird. She saw the line between slavery and freedom as a literal river she had to get across. And in these dreams, there were always women, dressed in white, sometimes strangers, sometimes ancestors, and they would point north. When she woke up, she just knew. She knew which roads were safe and which houses were traps. So what did the people of her time think? Well, the so-called experts called her brain damaged. The man who enslaved her, he called her worthless. But history calls her Moses. She went back 19 times. 19! Think about that. She was betting her life and hundreds of other lives on those visions, on those women in her dreams. And you know what? She was never wrong. Not once. Look, Harriet's story isn't just something you read in a history book. It's a mirror. So let's turn that mirror on you right now. When a woman shows up in your dreams, what is she? Is she a warning? Is she a guide? Or is she showing you the person you've been refusing to become? And what about when that dream keeps coming back? Same woman, same eyes, over and over. That silence that feels deafening, right? Louder than any words could ever be. So I want you to ask yourself this and be really honest. What if Harriet Tubman had just dismissed it all, waved it off as just a dream? How many people would have died in chains, all because she didn't listen? The stakes are that high. Okay, here's what you need to get right now. This isn't some fluffy New Age poetry. It's not superstition. When a woman appears in your dream, it is one of the most spiritually loaded things that can happen to you. It's this incredible intersection of psychology and spirituality, and it's screaming one thing at you. Your subconscious is fighting to keep you alive. Yeah, psychologists have a word for this. They call her the anima, the soul image. But forget the textbook definition. This isn't some abstract idea. This is deeply personal. That woman in your dream, she could be your mother, your daughter, or maybe, just maybe, she's the version of you that you buried a long time ago. The one someone told you was too much, or too loud, or not enough. Her showing up means something inside you is at its absolute breaking point. Because here's the thing about your dreaming mind. It doesn't lie. It can't. It has no social contract, no performance to put on. When we're awake, we're all about logic, expectations, what we should do. But when you're asleep, that's gone. It's just raw, unfiltered psychological truth. And that woman? She is a direct message from the most honest part of who you are.
And this truth, it has a purpose. I mean, even modern therapy, like CBT, recognizes that a recurring dream is just your brain trying to force you to deal with something your waking mind is desperately trying to avoid. So when she keeps showing up, that's it. That's the sign. It points to a wound, a toxic pattern, a truth you are refusing to look at. The dream itself is the intervention.
So that leaves you with a choice. It's actually pretty simple. The women who listen, their lives change. I'm talking leaving toxic situations, finally finding their voice, completely realigning with their deepest values. And the ones who ignore it, years down the road, they all talk about that one dream, that one moment they know they should have listened. And that regret, it's a heavy thing to carry. So don't get it twisted. This isn't just about interpreting some fuzzy symbols. This is life or death material. I mean that emotionally, spiritually, and yeah, sometimes literally. Harriet Tubman didn't have the luxury of saying it's just a dream. And frankly, neither do you. She understood what was at stake. Now, it's your turn. Part 2. You've had the dream. Now for the diagnosis. The woman in your dream? She's a shapeshifter. And her form, her age, her clothes, her emotion, it's not random. It is a highly specific message from deep inside you, and you have to decode which one is yours. First up, we've got the messengers of being. Look, these aren't just characters in a dream. They are spiritual diagnostics about your current state, about the path you're on right now. Okay, so the woman in white, the crucial detail here is the feeling she brings. Spiritually, she can mean purity, truth. If she feels peaceful, it means a season of confusion is finally ending. But if she's ghostly, unsettling, well, that's unprocessed grief or guilt, and it's demanding your immediate attention. Here is your instruction, and this is not a suggestion. I want you to write down the name of every woman you have lost, through death, estrangement, or maybe even your own withdrawal. The unfinished business, the grief, that is the message. Do not wait. Next, the old woman. This dream is a life audit, plain and simple. Your subconscious pulls this card when you're at a major crossroads, forcing you to confront the long-term consequences of your choices. She could be ancestral wisdom, or maybe she's your future self, checking in. So you have to ask yourself this. Are you living in a way the old woman you will become would be proud of? And don't think about the answer. Feel it. If your chest tightens when you hear that, you know something has to change. Now. And the pregnant woman? No, this isn't literal. It's about potential that has reached its full term. It's a project, a new identity, a relationship. Whatever it is, it's growing inside you and it cannot be stopped. This dream is your final notice. It is time to deliver. All right, section 2. The mirrors of emotion. These women aren't about your path. They are a direct reflection of the emotional weather inside you right now. The crying woman. This is a huge red flag for emotional avoidance. She is the grief you've abandoned. She's the sorrow you've labeled too much or unacceptable and locked in the basement of your psyche. She is the part of you that you have spiritually abandoned. And she will keep crying until you let her. So here's the task. Set a timer for 10 minutes. And just cry. Don't justify it. The feeling that comes up, that's the data. That is the message. The beautiful woman, she appears when you are playing small. She is the divine feminine. She is the version of you that you are capable of becoming. And the gap between who you see in the dream and who you are in the mirror, that is the work. So here's your instruction. Identify one way you deliberately diminish yourself just to make other people comfortable. Got it? Now stop it. This week. She is not a fantasy, she is an instruction. Now, for confronting the shadows. This is where it gets uncomfortable. These are the parts of yourself that you've exiled, the figures you have unfinished business with. The dead woman. Psychologically, this means something has ended, or needs to end, and you just haven't acknowledged it. Your instruction is to write an unsent letter to her. Say everything. And this isn't just some spiritual theater. It is literally cognitive behavioral therapy's empty chair technique. It works. Then there's the woman in black. And this is crucial, so listen up. She is not the enemy. She is your shadow self. She is every part of you that you've judged as unacceptable. Your anger, your ambition, your power. She is the most powerful part of you that you have been too afraid to own. Dreaming of your mother, this is the most psychologically loaded dream you can possibly have. Your relationship with her is the template for all your other relationships, your core beliefs. She represents the origin wound. So do this now. Finish this sentence. Because of my mother, I believe that I am blank. Don't edit yourself, just say it. Now ask yourself this. Is that actually true? Your honest answer to that second question could change absolutely everything. And this brings us to our final set of messengers, reclaiming your power. These aren't just diagnostics anymore, they are a direct, undeniable call to action. The powerful woman. She is the warrior feminine. She shows up right before you have to do that terrifying thing you've been avoiding. And remember this, she is not a symbol. She is your permission slip. Dreaming of yourself. This is the rarest and most urgent dream of all. It is direct communication from your soul. The instruction is this. Ask a person you trust, how do I seem to you lately? And then you need to really listen. The gap between their answer and the woman you saw in your dream, that's your roadmap. And finally, the dancing woman. Let's be very clear. This dream is an emergency alert. You are dying of joylessness. Because joy is not some reward you earned, it is a survival mechanism. This dream is a desperate call to turn your life force back on. We've covered the messengers, the mirrors, the shadows, the calls to power. So, What is the final diagnosis here?
It's this. Every single one of these dreams, every variation, it's all the same core message, just delivered in a different costume. You are being called back to yourself. The specific woman you see is just the diagnostic detail telling you exactly where you've gone missing from your own life.
Ignore it at your own peril.
Part 3. Look, this is where the real work begins. All right, so let's get right into it. You read Part 2. Something clicked. And now, what? This is the exact spot where almost everyone gets off the train. You know, you get that flash of insight, you feel it in your bones, and then nothing. You just go back to your life. We are not going to let that happen. Not this time. So we are shifting gears. We're moving from just understanding something to actually doing something about it. The dream delivered the message. Your job now is to act. That's it. That's where everything changes. Listen, do not be the person who returns to their life unchanged. This is a choice, and it's a huge one for your inner world. You've literally been handed a map, and to just crumple it up and throw it away, that's choosing to stay lost. We're not doing that.
Okay, so what I'm about to give you is a toolkit. 7 different protocols for your psyche. And listen, don't get overwhelmed and try to do all of them. That's not the point. Your job is to find the one that feels right for you, for your specific dream. And once you find it, you commit. You commit like your life depends on it, because frankly, it does.
First up, Protocol 1, the Dream Journal. This is for the analytical woman, the one who needs structure. If you love data, if you love seeing patterns emerge, this is your tool. And let's be clear, this is not just Dear Diary stuff. This is daily surveillance of your own mind.
The rules here are simple, but they are absolutely non-negotiable. Step 1, notebook and pen by the bed, not your phone. The phone will just pull you out of it. Step 2, the second you wake up, before you even think, you write for 5 minutes straight. Step 3, do not analyze or edit. Just get it down. Images, feelings, random words, colors, whatever it is. And step 4, you do this for 21 days. A pattern will emerge, I guarantee it. And that pattern? That's your subconscious screaming its #1 priority at you.
Okay, but what if the dream isn't about some vague pattern? What if it's about a person? Your mother, maybe, a friend you lost touch with, or even you, but younger. When there's that kind of unfinished business, we use something called the empty chair conversation. It's a technique that comes from CBT, and trust me, even if it sounds a little weird, it is powerful.
Yeah, on one hand, it's a CBT technique. You can read about it in a textbook. But on the other hand, this conversation is the surgery. Because let me tell you, that unprocessed grief, that conflict, it doesn't just go away. It grows. It becomes anxiety, illness, self-sabotage, all of it. This isn't just a nice little exercise. This is the operation you know you need to have.
All right, Protocol 3. This one's for the women you see in your dreams that you can't stand, the ones you fear, or the ones you just plain dislike. Who is she? She's you. She's your shadow. She's all the parts of yourself you've shoved into the basement, and guess what? She's knocking on the door.
So how do you deal with her? It's a 4-step process. Step 1, name the quality that's so disturbing. Is it her rage, her selfishness? Name it. Step 2, find where that exact same quality lives in you. And it does, it's in there. Step 3, find the healthy, legitimate version of that quality. So maybe her raw aggression is actually your buried power to set a boundary. Step 4, you have to express that healthy version this week, not next year, this week.
And please, hear me on this. Integrating your shadow is not some fluffy spiritual luxury. It is psychological survival. Because all those parts of you that you disown, they don't just vanish. They go underground and they run the show from there. They're the source of your self-sabotage. Okay, so what about those dreams of women you don't even know? An old woman, maybe someone who feels like an ancestor. That dream is often pointing to your emotional inheritance, the stuff that's been passed down your family line. This next protocol is all about making that invisible inheritance visible. I want you to get a big piece of paper, map out your female lineage, your mom, her mom's sisters, as far back as you can go. And under each name, write the dominant emotion of her life. Was it grief, resilience, rage, sacrifice, joy, shame? Write it down. Then step back and just look at it. You will see the emotional DNA that's been handed down, and I promise you, it is running in your own nervous system today. Okay, let's talk about the body, because sometimes the dream isn't for your head, it's for your cells. This is Protocol 5, for the woman who lives in her head. If you're dreaming of a woman who is dancing, or wounded, or just moving, your body is trying to tell you something. It's a somatic message. It's time to stop thinking and start feeling.
So here's your commitment. For just 7 days, pick one of these. Just one. 10 minutes of just moving your body however it wants to move. Or a 20-minute slow walk where you just focus on what you see and feel. Or one full night of sleep with no alarm clock. Or a warm bath with no phone, no book, no distractions. Look, your body is an archive of everything you haven't processed. This is how you open the door.
Okay, we need to be serious for a second. Protocol 6, the therapist conversation. Sometimes these tools aren't enough. If your dreams are consistently disturbing, if they're recurring, if you wake up with a feeling of dread in the pit of your stomach, this is no longer a DIY project. It is time to call for backup.
Let me be absolutely crystal clear. Some dreams are not gentle invitations, they are emergencies. This is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign that your psyche is overwhelmed. It's an alarm bell. You need to make an appointment with a therapist this week. Not when you get around to it, this week. The help is there. Use it.
And finally, Protocol 7. This is for the woman who doesn't process with words, but with her hands. The artist, the musician, the writer, the intuitive soul. This one is the Creative Expression Act.
Here's the thing. You don't need to understand the dream. You just need to give it form. So, how do you do that? You draw her. You find a lump of clay and you sculpt her. You write a poem as if you are her. You make a playlist that is her soundtrack. This bypasses that overthinking analytical part of your brain and taps right into the emotional core of the message. It's a different kind of knowing.
So, there you have it. 7 protocols. The lifeline is waiting, and now you have to choose one. Because you do have to choose. And to really understand why this is so urgent, we need to talk about someone who didn't have the luxury of choice.
Harriet Tubman did not have a safe, comfortable life where she could sit and slowly ponder what her visions might mean. She acted immediately, in the dark, in the freezing cold, with dogs literally chasing her. For her, visions weren't a metaphor. They were a map to freedom. They were survival instructions.
And that brings it right back to you. You are listening to this in warmth and safety. You have time and resources that she could never have dreamed of. And that privilege comes with a responsibility. Use it. Do not waste this chance.
So let's forget about dream interpretation. The woman in your dream is not some interesting mystery to solve. She is a lifeline. She's the part of you that hasn't given up, the part that's still fighting, still surviving, the part that's pointing the way toward your own freedom.
Favor,